And earlier, SADTU having its National Executive Committee resolving that schools should be closed as South Africa is in the early stages of the peak season. So to take this discussion further, we are joined by Dr. Chris Klopper, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Suid Afrikaanse Onderwysers Unie. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon to the viewers as well.
All right, so what's your view? SADTU says all schools should be closed until after the COVID-19 peak.
We don't have a mandate at this stage. Our mandate is that we will consider that if there is clear, objective medical advice that necessitates the closure of schools. Secondly, if the COVID Command Council takes a decision in that regard. And then thirdly, if we poll the individual members to find out if they are willing to support such a demand for the closure of schools. Our NEC considered this particular matter last week, Friday, and those are the conditions that they set for possible closure of schools.
This mandate issue, is it really not putting the children at harm's way? I mean, schools have been reopened now, and we are in the early stages of the peak season, and there's still a need for a mandate.
Well, that's the way that we work as a democratic organization. We can't take decisions by ourselves. We can't take it in isolation of members. And it's easy to poll members. It's not difficult. It's an electronic poll that you do. You can set it up. You can have your results, let's say, in the next 24 hours. So it's not something that's impossible to do. And that's what we intend to do if we want to go ahead with the demand also for the closure of schools.
Right. So when it comes to articulating the issues that are a thorn in the flesh regarding the infrastructure at various schools throughout the country. I mean, like we've been talking about this issue earlier here with Dr. Andrea Yuan. I just wanted to get your opinion regarding the inequality in the society regarding schools that don't have toilets and proper water supply and electricity. And looking at the whole digital divide, some schools are not even ready for e-learning. So given that we don't have an equal society and the dispensing of inclusive education may not be the same during this time, what needs to be done?
You're absolutely correct. We are living in an unequal society. It's a society that needs to be rectified. And it's indefensible that we have these huge divisions in society still after so many years in democracy. But that's the reality that we have to contend with. We know that you can't deal with individual schools with just a particular section. We have to deal with 25,000 schools. And ultimately, the politicians and those persons in charge of the education department will have to take decisions that are in the best interest of the system and not only of a particular cohort of schools. And as I said, I agree fully with you. It's indefensible that we have these huge divides in society.
So when it comes to homeschooling, let me ask you this question again, because it's something that is very concerning for some parents who are saying that they pay school fees, and some of them have not been to that level of schooling, and the subject matter nowadays and the content is not what some parents really comprehend. And if this is left in the hands of those elderly who are at home and having to teach their children when they perhaps don't have so much insight in the subject matter, it's really a mountain to climb for them. So how can that really happen?
You're absolutely correct in that regard as well. And that is that some parents do find it difficult, to assist learners, let's say on a distance learning basis. I can say to you that even in the best, in the most affluent societies, you don't have 100% attendance of children who are able to attend online classes. There are always those children who do not have access to that. And I think we have to acknowledge that the best system for learners is the classroom situation. At this stage, it seems as if there are risks involved in it, and I think it is something that everyone will have to consider and give their thorough attention and consideration for it.
When it comes to media education through radio and television, how do you think this is going to lead to more ground covered, given the different grades we have? And going towards the build-up of the examination era, how do you think that the catch-up exercise will really lead to the country completing the 2020 academic year?
We need to be honest. There will not be a full curriculum that will be covered by the grades, except the grade 12s. And I think that should be our primary attention at this stage, and that is how to assist the grade 12s to conclude the year and give them a national senior certificate that is credible, that is something that can be accepted by all universities or by tertiary institutions. That is going to be the real challenge. For the other grades, we must be honest and say that there will be a trimmed curriculum. It will not be a full curriculum. And that in all probability, we will have to use next year as well to ensure that we catch up this year's curriculum and next year's curriculum, so that at least by the end of next year, we know that we have covered the curriculum for the prior 2 years. So it is something that is going to be a challenge, and it's not going to be an event. It will be a process. And it's going to take a lot of hard work and dedication to ensure that ultimately that we achieve that. But I want to emphasize the point. We need to do that. We need to ensure that parents and the communities have trust in the system, that they have trust in schools, they have trust in the qualifications that ultimately will be put in the hands of learners. And I think with regard to assessment, we must also be honest and say that it's going to be difficult to write exams for all grades at the end of this year. It will have to be in the form of tests, and that will have to be used as an instrument to progress learners to the next grade next year.
Wow, that's mind-boggling. But anyway, thank you so much for making time to speak to us.